Hey, hi everybody. So I will just wait 1 or 2 minutes before we start so that everybody else who is joining in, everybody can join in, right? Um, so while I will share my screen as well, if you want to keep the Notion link where I'm editing the stuff open, you can keep that open. I'll just share that on the chat as well to you guys. So this is where we have all the information for the project. So just send it on the chat on Zoom. Okay. Okay, so Vaibhav is there in the room, who has made the designs that was on Discord.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Oh yeah, yeah, hi. So I looked at the designs on Discord. So they look really nice. I think we can move with a layout like that, show the popular trending and new at the top, and that's kind of really good. And yeah, it's kind of product hunt based, but that's fine. I think our entire project idea is also very product hunt based. So that's pretty good. Okay, so let me start. I'll just share my screen, and if somebody else comes in, I will admit them. Okay, I'll just write a message on Discord that I will admit people. Because I can't keep admitting people else to start working on the stuff. So I saw that Vaibhav had shared this code dump also for the entities. This I think looks fine. I think I'll just mostly just kind of copy these things into the Notion doc as well. So we need like the entities that we need are very you know limited. So we need. Okay, let's just go with that. So we need a user entity. We will need a project entity. In the projects, we can basically upvote or downvote the entity. So that will be an entity itself. Although on a database, that will be a very nominal entity that would have a +1, -1 value and the project ID and the user ID, right? And we'll need a comment entity so people can comment items or not. Do you guys think that we should have a downvote entity as well, or should we just have only upvotes? What do you think? Anybody who wants to speak, you can feel free to unmute yourself and speak, and that's not a problem.
We can have
I
like
think the
downvotes
upvote.
till zero. Sorry, I meant we can have like downvotes till zero, like maybe no negative downvotes.
Okay, so that we can do on the UI. Then we can just kind of show if it is less than 0, we will not show it. Like that's something that we can do. Makes sense. Yes. So I mean, although if we start with upward and downward, both we can later on remove downward functionality. I mean, I do want to kind of make this a place where people will encourage creating projects to each other, and I mean, not kind of downward projects. So obviously, I don't want to show the downward, but yeah, so we will figure that one out. So we'll have some users, projects, votes, and yeah, I think there was something about tags. So I think tags is for the topic. The tags are there? I believe. Vaibhav, that was your idea behind creating the project tags.
Uh, exactly, because if kind of you can add the stack of the project in the tag, or
Yeah,
if the project is about
got
maybe
it. So we can maybe
e-commerce
use.
website. Yeah.
So let's use hashtags itself, and right. So we'll need hashtags for that. So let's just go with that. So with a user, we would obviously need these things that you had written out here, like ID. So let's just set the baseline. So in a base entity, we would just have these things that every entity will kind of extend from a base entity. Okay, and so just a base entity needs to have like those things created at, deleted at, updated at, and an ID, which is auto increment. So let's just say that these are base. So every entity kind of extends from that. So we would have these fields available to all. So apart from that, a user would have a username, password, or we can probably use CV or social logins and all that stuff. Login with CV kind of would be pretty shortcut, because if you use login with coding blocks, then coding blocks itself has login with Facebook, GitHub, Google, Twitter, all of that stuff. So we might use that, or we might use a social login kind of a feature. Okay, and I think that should be it. So user also written. So these kind of things, like how many upvotes the user has. So these things. Oh, so that was on the project. So we can hash those things. Let's talk about a project. So project should have like a title. Description. So let's give it a tagline also. So one sentence that we can describe the project in, and then we have a description. So this would be like less than say 100 characters. This would be something like less than like a tweet size, 240 characters. Let's just say okay, and description. Let's just say we have it like less than 2000 characters. Okay. Apart from that, we would need like a a set of images. So what we will do is we will in fact create an entity for project images. Okay. And the project images would have basically like an URL. Okay. We will make a way to upload this image and save it somewhere on our hosting place and keep the URL here. So we would basically have a list of images. So here I'm writing it more in terms of how an ORM looks at it at a at a database level. This would become a project images table would get generated, or in our images we can keep the project ID, right? If it is many to one mapping, or if you want to use the same image in multiple projects, so we can look at that. So images is basically an array of images. Okay. Anything else anybody can think of that we would need to store in project information?
So we can have like a live link and GitHub link of that project.
Got it. So interesting. So let's have a field of links. Okay, and we'll just have a string array, and we can parse those links. If it's Git starting with GitHub, we can put a GitHub icon in front of it. If it's a Twitter link, we can put a Twitter icon in front of it. We can add some validation that maybe we accept only GitHub, Twitter, and LinkedIn links or something like that. So we can have like links for that project. So makes sense. Or I think we can do this thing. We can have like a GitHub link and like a website. So that could be a URL, and we could have Git.
So, so can we make a like an object? We can store it as in the form of object, like we have a like GitHub link and the
Yeah, we
URL
can
link,
store it
all
as
the
an object.
links.
So the thing is that if you do it with SQL, you can in SQL also you can store objects. But if you store it as strings here, then it makes it easier to search. So for example, if I want to search people whose GitHub username is something, those kind of things can also be searched later on
Okay.
much easier. Because storing an object versus if you know that the object has 3 fields, and mostly those 3 fields would be filled for all projects. So just making 3 columns, your cost of storing is not different for that.
Yeah, sure, sure. Sir.
We also need a user ID here.
So which user has created that project? So that would be a user object. So basically, in a ORM format, it will be user object. In DB, it would be a user ID column. That's correctly correct. Anything else anybody can think of that we need in the project field?
Maybe we
Can
can
it be
have
like
So we
a,
can
multiple?
a
have
video link.
A video link.
technologies, we can have all that,
A YouTube link.
all that.
Cool. So these are URLs that just say. I mean, obviously there will be string, but it will be validations. Yeah. Anything else? What do you say?
We can have the like technologies on it as built, like the which tech
Yeah, so
it is
that we
used.
will handle with the tags. Okay, so tags we will
Yeah.
use an array of these hashtags. That entity we have defined here. Okay. Okay. So vote is we will have obviously which user has voted on which project he has voted, and the value. So that would be +1 or -1, like that. We can store that value of the vote, upvote or downvote. So I'll writing here decide if downvote is a feature. So I'm kind of not sure right now. We can do a poll on Discord later on, and everybody can vote whether downvotes should be there or not. But technically, we
Like
can.
it will be good now, sir. Like in the starting, if we are like engaging for the upvote, so like we don't have much project on there. So giving a upvote, it will be a good part in that case.
Yeah, no. So I'm thinking if the -1 should be there or not, because at the end of the day, it's a place where we are going to encourage people. So if somebody's made a project, and if you like that project, if you find it interesting, you can upvote. If you don't find it interesting, don't do anything. Right? That can be a way of thinking
Yeah.
of it. Or you can also think if somebody is a bad project, we can downvote. That is also another way of thinking of it. But I was just thinking because we need to encourage people to build more projects, and there, when you're just building and trying out projects, what is a bad project? Nothing is a bad project. So we can decide that we can make it in a do like a democracy. We'll have a vote for that on Discord so that everybody else also who is not on the call can vote. But anyway, regardless, we will figure that out if -1 is allowed or not. Coming to comments, so a comment would be made by a user again on a particular project.
Am I audible?
Priyansh, yes, you are.
Yes. So on that -1 thing, I feel
Yeah.
that when we want to search projects by the hashtag, I guess having -1, having downvotes helps in the sense that if a project has been downvoted many times, we can have a ranking sort of algorithms for when we want to show
You can
projects
do
by
that
the
even if
tag,
you
right?
have just upvotes, right? So even if you don't have downvotes, then the projects which have been upvoted more would be on the top, right?
That is true. Yeah, that is true. But like you
Your
said, that
scale
if
can be like 0 to 1. It could be -1 to 1 as well. It depends like what the scale you want to be. Like even in exams where you
right,
do negative marking, you can still rank people there, right?
true, makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. But also it's a decision that I think if we are able to build this website, it's just really a kind of experiment for me to see if we can all come together and build a project in the open, and you can on YouTube we can post that. But if the site gets built and if it gets popular later on, also we can figure out like if having downvotes helps us sort projects better, or not having downvotes helps us encourage people better. So let's keep that for later. Either way, it does not really affect our logic for now. So now let's come into comments. So I think comments also we should keep like a small title and a body for the comment. So like title could be like less than 50 character, and then a body. Or let's say 1,000. If somebody wants to write a long comment as well. So people would be creating a comment under a project, and it will have a title and a body along with that. And then we have hashtags. So hashtags would have like the tag itself, which would be a string. It would have some basic, should be a single word, no. So whatever rules for hashtag applies on Twitter and all, right? And I think that's it. Hashtag does not need any other rule. It will just be some tags, right? So a project would have some tags, and there would be an array. Okay. Can anybody think of anything else that we are missing on this? And again, like I said, the link for this, I'll just share that in the chat. A lot of other people have joined in as well. Right?
Excuse me, Bhaiya.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was thinking, can we have a section called pitching, where if I have an idea but I'm not that capable, to make a end-to-end project, I can just pitch an idea. People can join in, like collaborate kind of thing, like just a section
Okay.
where.
So let me write that down here. In this thing, the project brief. So that was not really the idea initially, but let's just say, future ideas.
Because I saw this one GitHub page, that there's a list of ideas. People just comment, and think, yeah, we can make something like this.
Okay, so pitching new ideas is I'm just writing that down. That if I'm not able to create a project myself, then if I pitch an idea and somebody else wants to create it. But for now, like the scope that I wanted was just to be able to showcase projects first of all, more like what
Okay.
product hunt is, and get
Okay.
some of the best projects up on the top. But that's also a future use case. I have written that down. Good idea. So yeah. Oh, I did not. I think did I write the link? Did you get the link now? The chat?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
so I
the link
think
now.
the entire thing
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
got
able
the
to
link.
open in the screen myself because I have to keep scrolling up and down. So you guys can also open that and you will find out the link to that page. So yeah, anything else that you can think of that maybe I would.
So some people
The
have written in the comments that we can have multiple users.
We should have provision to have multiple users in a project because more than one person may have built the project. Okay, so that's interesting.
it can be the arrow.
Okay, so let's do a quick this thing. Kind of parliament like A's and Nays vote. So just select everyone while writing the message in the chat. Okay, don't send anything right now. I'm just telling you. Make sure that you select everyone in meeting. That's the option. You should select everyone while writing the chat. So do you think projects should have multiple users? If you think right, yes. If you think it should only be mapped to one user, right, no. Okay, so all of you except one person seems like supporting in favor of group projects. I personally was looking more towards individual projects, but we can have an icon for whether it's a group project or not. I think if you think that. Okay, everybody who has said yes, just write another thing. Write the number of people you think max we should allow for every project. Okay, everybody's everybody's a lot of people are writing five. So five, I don't personally. I would say I don't really like the number five. Actually, it should be lesser at something like three because it's not like college project. If you do a 5% project, then at least two people don't work on that project. Is my experience of seeing how group projects work. Don't you think? So so let's have a limited three. I think right. So let's in a project we have got users. So let's say we make it users and limit to three. This obviously has to be an application layer limit. We can't put it on the DB itself, but when you're adding users, you can't do that, right? It'll only the thing is it'll add a little bit of complexity. You'll have to find out users whom you can add to the project. But let's go with that. Let's just go with that. That's fine. Let's just say we have multiple user limitation here. That's fine. But we will in our design. No, what we'll do is we will show a project which is a group project. We will create a group icon or something like that. We'll show there. So we can see if it's an individual project or a group project. That can be very evident. Because me personally, I really love individually created projects. It means that you have kind of done the thinking of the front end, the back end, the architecture, the design, and you put it all of those things together. That speaks a lot about you, but that does not mean people cannot make group projects. That's fine. Let's do that. Any other ideas? Anything else that data set, anything that I'm missing in users, images, projects, anything else?
One thing we can do is we can give users some badges. Like if we put first project like badge, a badge we can give.
Okay, interesting. So let me put that again in the future ideas. These kind of badges you're saying, right? First project uploaded, 5 projects uploaded, got 10 upvotes,
Yep.
got 100 upvotes, these kind of things. Cool. So I'm keeping that in the future ideas. So let's create the MVP without this feature, but we can very easily add this feature as well, right? So that is interesting. Some people have said that, report for spam. So if reporting a project should be there, right? So let's keep that. Again, in future ideas, let's get the MVP out and then we will work on this reporting projects and comments. Okay, this should be definitely there, that we should be able to report projects and comments for spam or bad language or anything like that. That should be there. Cool.
Arnav, are
Arnav?
we looking for multi-level comments, or like there will be a single level to like each comment?
Oh, that's interesting. So let's have single level comments only for now. Let's not go into multi-level comments. If we need multi-level comments later on, it's possible to do by having reply to ID field and then make it nesting underneath it. So that's possible.
Sure.
So for now, let's just keep it single level. Let me keep that also in the if that is something that we think we need later on, we can think of that. Reporting for spam abuse and duplicates. I'm keeping all these in the future ideas, and we will figure out what endpoints we will need for that. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Especially like in the entities, I think we are done. I think most of the relations that we need, we have it here, right? So let's think of what endpoints we will need, right?
So, Bhaiya, we are going with a SQL kind of database or no SQL with this one?
So for this, we will go with SQL. I mean, I don't see a reason for using NoSQL. There are relations between these entities, and queries would be faster if you go with SQL.
Okay. And are we implementing any caching system also, or we'll leave it for the later part?
We'll leave it for the later part. Let's see, like if it becomes successful and a lot of people come to the site, then we need to scale. So we will do those things, and we will keep on, whatever incremental things we do. So, like I said, I mean, I would support keeping this once this website is done. I would support keeping it live. But then, as if the user base increases and you guys can, tell your friends about it and they come and this becomes a good site for uploading projects. For scaling, whatever is needed, that also we will do it like this only. We will come together on Zoom calls and we'll discuss what to do. So anything addition that happens to the project, we'll do it in an open way like this. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about endpoints. So endpoints, I think we would have. So get request to, I think, slash. Let's just start with. Right, and this probably would have things like let me make those settings as well. Then let's just have this settings as well. So So let's have obviously this thing that we need to sort by new and trending and popular. So generally, this is the most used criteria that the listing websites use. So new is just chronological sorting. Popular is simply by the upvotes, and trending is generally you keep a cutoff period. So you do projects which are in the most popular in the last 1 week kind of things. You put it in the trending, right? So that is slash project. So we can have sort by. Then we can obviously have like search, right? Name and name equal to like X. So that will be search for projects like. So we'll do a includes name search for that, right? And then we would have obviously get projects by hashtags as well. Okay. So we should have a get API for tags first of all.
Arnav Bhaiya, this query parameter name, is that for profile name or like project name?
Project name. Okay, so if we do want to search by user, then we would do it a little differently. We would do it user slash project. So I will get to that. So the other
Oh,
thing we
sure,
can
sure.
do, so get, I think inside that only we can just write the other one. So tag equal to, and we can select some tag. Okay. Then we would have obviously users one, and in the users one also we can do I think something similarly. I think we can do like top users or something like that. So sort by we can do popular users also here. So the new here is something very different. People who have recently or recent, let's just say recently uploaded product. So not just users who have created an account. That does not make sense, right? A lot of people will create accounts, but they will not immediately upload a project. So popular users and then recent users. So that let's just say we have one. So I think I have an idea for future, which I'll just do it. Is that store college university data, allow finding projects by college, so I can find projects of my college mates, right? Okay, so Amit has a good point that trending is by the number of views rather than by upvote. So that is also a good point. So we are not storing views right now, at least at the data point level. So let's just let me write that also here. So let's write that. Later on, we can store the number of views that a project is having, and we can sort the trending based on that instead. Okay. Okay. So we'll have a get projects endpoint. We'll do these things. Then we have a get users. So get projects. Further than that, we'll also have get projects slash project ID. Okay. So this fetches a single project by project ID. Okay. Then we have got users. So similarly, we will have a users slash users ID, user ID. And this is what I think somebody was asking, projects of a particular user.
Maybe instead of this, we can have a profile.
So the thing is, if we are creating a SPA kind of app, what we can do is we can make both these calls on that page, get the basic idea or data of the user, and this page we can do so that these kind of pages where there are lists, these can be paginated also very easily. So we can show only the first three, and then as we scroll, we can add the pagination. Okay, for that.
Okay.
So this I'll just write that down as well. So this must be paginated where the list. Similarly, users must also be paginated. And this would also be paginated. Okay. So projects of particular user we can fetch. So like whatever will be the front end app, there we will make this query so that we can get the avatar of the user. And oh, by the way, I did not write that. Right, our users should have this thing. This we can also make a entity to the image, right? So avatar of the user, right? And we should have their social links. So let's just say we can have hard coded for this. We know that there would be LinkedIn, Twitter, GitHub, right? YouTube and Facebook. So we can have these hard coded URLs for that. Other links, if a person has, we can probably add a additional JSON object for doing things like that. Okay. So these things we will basically
We
show.
can also add a bio in the profile.
We can add a bio in the profile, makes sense. So we can do a bio and can have like 1,000-character bio in the profile, makes sense.
Skills.
Skills, do we need skills? I don't think we need skills. I mean, let's not make it a job site. It's just uploading projects is good enough, right? College, as somebody has said, so college I already put in the Akshay in the future thing that adding college for users, right? Because then you have to add like a list of colleges and all that stuff. So let's keep the scope small so that we can get the project built. So we can fetch projects, we can fetch users, we can fetch a particular user, we can fetch a particular project, we can fetch the project of a user, and we can get all the hashtags so we can search projects by hashtags. Okay. So these are all the at least get endpoints. So we would we obviously have to create a post endpoint correspondingly, that how to create a user, right? So post to user. So this is to create a user basically. Okay. So we'll have to decide what are the entities, these things that we need here to send in the post request body. Mostly for post user, we have to send a user object, but how the auth will work. So we'll have a discussion on that separately, how the auth will work. Right. Similarly, for to create projects, we would need a post projects endpoint. So create a new project. So automatically when the user is authenticated, this will make sure that this project gets created under the username of that user. They can add contributors. Other users, if they want to add, they can add contributors. Right. If we have to allow that multiple mapping, but otherwise just post to projects, whoever is making that API call authenticated by access token, right? So based on access token, that will become the owner of that project. Cool. So we got post projects, get projects, and then we need upvote and downvotes. So for that, we can basically make simple put calls for that. So if you make a put request to project slash project ID slash upvote, or we can do post request to vote, and like in the body we can send like value equal to 1, like that. So that will tell whether it's upvote or a downvote kind of a thing, right? And then for commenting would be a post request to
Bhaiya,
yeah.
for upvotes, can we make a trigger or something like that as in the backend instead of like in
Instead
our
of what?
database? Can we make a trigger
So that you
for
just plus
upvotes?
1 the value.
Exactly.
But it is better to keep the data there so that I can find out projects that I had upvoted. Because if you keep a trigger, then you can't keep track of that data.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. Okay.
And then comments. So here you can add a new comment and you can get comments of a project as okay. So this okay. Any other endpoints? So somebody else won't a single user be able to upvote more than once? This way Amit has asked. No, on the database we will find out that for this user ID and this project ID, vote row already exists. So we will only overwrite it. So if somebody upvotes twice, it will be an idempotent operation. Okay. It will not make any difference. If somebody downvotes a project that is already upvoted, it will turn into a downvote from an upvote. The same user ID and
So,
project ID will not allow creating multiple rows. That's it. That's where sequential DBs are helpful.
so Bhaiya, if we are doing like we want to save the project that I have upvoted and all, so we need to have a relationship between the upvote table and this no user
Yeah, there's
as well.
we already have that actually. So a vote
Oh,
contains a
okay.
user and a project. So this user, so user X upvotes project one, so though that data would be there, the relationship would be there for that.
Okay.
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 Should we allow the owner of a project to upvote his own project?
Should we allow the owner of a project to upvote their own project? Okay, interesting. We can go with that. We can say yes to that. It's like Reddit. Reddit by default puts an upvote to your own post. By default, it becomes +1. So that's fine. I mean, that is just one vote. It does not really matter, right? In the big picture of things, projects will go up and down because of getting hundreds of votes.
Get activity of the user.
Yeah.
Activity of the user, like how is upvoting
Upwards and downwards
so
of the
that
user. So okay, we can do that. So recent upvotes and recent comments of that user. So we can find that out as well, right? So we can do a so we can do this, and we can do similarly. Comments and votes by that user. We can find that out. Okay. So cool. I think I will wrap the meeting up because for two reasons. One is that I purposely started it on a free Zoom account because so that I get limited to 40 minutes and I don't cross that because too long a video does not make sense for YouTube as well. And also so that so these are the entities and the endpoints here. So we'll do one thing because a little bit of problem in the progress was how to handle working on it. So all of you guys, anybody who wants to just go ahead and make the backend for this, and whoever, whenever you do it, just submit on the Discord channel that you have, made this project, and let me know there. Okay. So let's see whoever makes the best one, we can pick that one and continue from there. Or if any one of you guys want to collaborate together and make it, feel free to do that on the Discord channel. Contact each other, and you can do that. Make sense?